Even though there are tons of apps available to help you edit your videos, there aren't that many that allow auto captions with just one click. So today we're talking about easy video editing with Capcut. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Liz and I help coaches and consultants add video to their business. Make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss any of my future content. Now, if you followed any of my previous content, you know that I am a huge fan of another app known as InShot. That is the app that I downloaded to my phone a long time ago, and I actually built my entire YouTube channel just from editing videos on my phone using that app. It was long before the days of me having a better computer and having better software on there to actually do work with. Even today, I rely on InShot for a lot of my editing. However, one big drawback of InShot, and I hope they fix this soon, is the fact that you cannot automatically generate captions. If you want to add captions to your videos using InShot, you have to manually sit there and type out everything on your phone, and that is a drag. If you're not familiar with why captions are such a big deal, don't forget about the fact that it is the most accessible way to put your videos in front of people. And not only that, but nowadays more and more people are watching video content with the sound off, so they are actually reading the captions. So if you want your videos actually to get fully seen and to get more traction, then you need to start adding those subtitles in. So for this reason, easily adding captions to your video is a big plus point of another app known as Capcut. So today I'm going to do a quick walkthrough or a demo of how to actually edit your videos using some of the more simpler features in Capcut. You can follow along with me as I show you my phone and I just go through a full walkthrough of how to edit from start to finish, including how to add captions. So let's jump over to my computer. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is download and install the Capcut app from your Play Store. Once you have that, make sure that within your camera roll of your phone, you have a video handy that you want to start editing. So let's tap on Capcut. And then you'll always have this prompt at the top to start a new project. So let's do that. And then from your camera roll, you can pick the video that you're about to edit. So you can see here that you have access to your videos and your photos and also live photos. If you want to make a quick video, but you don't have your own footage handy, you can always go to the stock videos tab at the top, and then you can pick from any of the various options they have here. And that can just be handy when you're in a bit of a crunch. Okay, so let's go back to our own videos. And I'm going to pick this one. So once I tap on that, it'll just start loading my own video footage, and I'm going to tap add. And then I have my video footage pulled up into this timeline. So from this point, Capcut is very much like most of the other apps that are available to help you with video editing. For example, InShot. So a lot of these features and functions are the same. So you can take your time just to scroll through and see what are the different features and see what would be applicable to you. But for today's purpose, I'm just going to show you the very basics in terms of how to trim some footage, how to add text, how to add audio, how to add a light filter, and of course, how to add auto captions. So let's say that within my footage, I don't want all this stuff at the beginning because it just shows me in my chair. I haven't really gotten into it yet. So I'm basically using my finger to pull along this timeline here until I find the area where I think I'm ready to actually start my video. So not yet. Okay, so now I've started speaking and you can tell that I'm about to start right there. Okay, so what you can do at this point is now that your cursor, your white line here, has highlighted the area where you've stopped scrolling, you can just tap on the actual video. So tap your finger here anywhere so that you're activating the video footage. You can see it's now highlighted in white. And then when you do that, you open up a whole bunch of new options along the bottom. And these are all options that are available to you at that point on. So really what I want to do here is split my footage so that I have this previous piece as well as all the rest of it. So when I split it, what I'm going to do is just type split or just tap split. So now I've got one piece of footage and another piece of footage. The reason I want to do that is because all this footage at the beginning is just kind of unnecessary stuff where I'm getting myself ready to start recording, and we don't need that in our final product. So now that I've isolated that as a separate clip, I can tap on that to activate it, and then I can come down, scroll here, and just delete that. So now I am left with my own decent video footage right from the point where I want to start talking. Now, another way that you can trim the beginning and the end of your footage is just to go to the end, for example. So here you can see I've gotten up and I'm done. So of course the audience doesn't need to see all this stuff. And I just want to kind of trim it from this point on. So if I want to do something that doesn't use that split feature, instead what I can do is just tap my footage. Okay, so I've activated it. And now I can hold my finger down on this white bar and just drag that to the left. So I'm basically shortening my footage at this point. Let's tap it again. Let's shorten it a little bit more. Tap it again. Shorten it a little bit more. Okay. Right. So I'm done there. At that point, my video is done. So I've shortened it like that. Now, one thing to remember on Capcut is that Capcut by default adds this little Capcut animation to the end of every single video that you create there. You can see that there on the screen. So we don't necessarily always want to have that. So what you can do instead is just use your finger to tap that little clip and then just come down here and delete it. So now that's deleted. Okay. So there's a bunch of things that you can always do with all this video footage, but as I mentioned, I'm just showing you the more simpler features. So let's say that we just want to add a little bit of a filter to this. So let's tap on our footage to activate it. Let's scroll along the bottom until we find filters. And then we can scroll through any of these filters and add something here. Now there's one that I actually usually like, and it's the one called Snack, which is kind of funny, I know, but it just kind of brightens everything up a little bit and it looks quite natural still. And then you can use this slider at the bottom just to determine how much intensity you want of that filter. So if you wanted that to be a little stronger, you could drag it to the right, or you could drag it down a little bit. So it does make a little bit of a difference. So let's say that I want it around there. So if I'm happy with that, then I can tap the check mark and then I'm done with my filter. Let's say that I wanted to crop out some part of this if I don't necessarily want to have everything here within the frame. So that might happen when you are shooting something against a wall or a background where there's some part of it that you don't want captured. So what you can do is tap your footage. So I'm tapping it to activate. Then again, I'm going to scroll along the bottom menu and I'll go to this edit feature. And now this will allow me to crop. So if I tap that, it means at this point I can drag in any of these corners just to emphasize a certain area and crop out the rest. So let's pretend I didn't want this part of my wall. Just feels a little empty and lonely there. So I'm going to hold this corner or this corner and pull myself in a little bit. And now that will just completely change that. So you'll see how that changes the appearance of that. So there's some circumstances where you might want to do something like that. So if you're happy with that look, then you can tap the check mark. So while we're on this page, let me also just show you that this is also the screen where you can change the dimensions of your video, which is super handy, especially if you want to repurpose videos for social media. Now, this video that I have happens to be horizontal, so it would be good for Facebook or for LinkedIn or YouTube. But if I wanted to post this onto my Instagram feed, of course, you know that it has to be a square. Or if I wanted to turn this into a reel or a TikTok, that would have to be a vertical video. So from this screen, you can actually tap any of those other formats here along the bottom, and it will adjust that for you. So let's see what happens when we tap the 9:16 vertical video. So at that point, it changes it to that. Now I can put my finger down on this video and just kind of adjust it if I wanted to. And then that is super handy, and I could just post it like that. As a vertical video. Or let's say that I want it to go onto my Instagram feed and it needs to be a square. I can tap this square formatting and it would take it like that. So these type of things are kind of handy so that you can just repurpose quickly from within the app. Okay, let's say that I actually do want to do this square. I would be happy with this, and then I would tap the check mark at the bottom. So let's do that. Okay, so now my entire video looks like that, which is okay. I'm okay with that. So let's tap these little arrows to get out of that. Okay, so the other thing that we want to think about is how to add audio. Let's say that I want to run a little bit of light music in the background. Now, if you're creating something that you specifically want to post on TikTok or Instagram Reels, it's always a good idea to use the audio provided in those platforms itself. That just helps with your getting found status so that you can use like trending audio, for example. But if you're making a video where you just want to post it on other platforms that aren't dependent on trending audio, then you can just add your own audio. So for that, we would use this function down here. So let's tap our video first to activate it. And we'll just tap this little arrow so we can get out of that. And then let's tap audio. Okay, from this point, you can either create your own voiceover where you just hold your phone up to your mouth and speak into it, and it's just going to record that. Or you can add a sound or you can add some effects. So let's tap sounds and see what's available. So here there's a ton of sounds that are already loaded into this app, which is really handy. So you can pick any single thing that you like here and then just kind of see what suits you. So let's pick anything. Let's go back for a minute. Let's try the brush. Okay. Okay, so you can pick any audio that you want and then just add that in. So let's say that we were okay with this lazy weekend one and we pressed play. We had a quick listen to make sure that it sounds decent. So then we can simply tap the plus button so that we can just add that in. So you can see that it added in that audio exactly where my white cursor was. And instead, what I should have done is just gone to the beginning of my video so that I could add it from the beginning. But that's very easily solved. All you have to do is tap on that audio so you can activate it and then hold your finger down on it and then just drag it all the way back to the beginning. So let's do that. Okay, and now that we've added our audio right from the beginning, of course, there's a ton of other things that we can do with our audio. If we just tap that audio to activate it, we can adjust the volume of it. We can try to fade it in or out. You know, we can do all sorts of things like that. So that's also very handy if you wanted to just kind of fade it in a little bit, fade it out a little bit. That's also easily done. You can even tap it and then change the volume of it altogether. So maybe we don't want it at full volume. We just want it really lightly running around in the background.
If you're already
okay, so that's done. So now let's think about adding text. So adding text is actually different from adding auto captions. Text is better for just a couple of words here and there on your screen once in a while. Like for example, if you want to have a title or something like, you know, follow for more, or don't forget to subscribe, some of those type of things. Every once in a while, you might have a major sort of subtitle that comes up in your video, like a heading for a new point that you're making, for example. So those type of things are good to put on text. So let's do that. So first we'll tap on our video footage just to highlight it. And then let's go to the text feature at the bottom. Okay, and it allows you to add text. So let's do that. So let's say I'm going to put my name here right at the beginning of my video. Okay, so I type that. I'm going to press the check mark because I finished typing. And then, of course, this looks ridiculous because it's right out of the screen. So what we're going to do is just put our fingers down on this text and simply squeeze that so that it just is the right size. And let's say that I just want that small to pop up in the corner while I'm talking. So that would be a good size. And I don't want that to pop up right away. So instead, what I'm going to do is tap on that text down here just to activate it. And I'm just going to drag it over a little bit so that it starts after a couple seconds. So that means when we press play, we'll just start the video and then the text will show up at the bottom by itself and then the text will just go away. Now, if we wanted that text to be longer, of course, we could just tap on this and then use our finger to hold this and drag it a couple more seconds to the right somewhere, and then that would last longer. So you can put text anywhere throughout your video in the same way, like if you have a few bullet points coming up or you need some separation text in between topics, you can do it like that. So while we're on this screen, let's think about adding our captions, which is really the topic of today's video as well. So what we want to do here is we want to tap on our video to activate it. We will see at the bottom auto captions. So let's tap that. And we're taking the captions from the original sound. So let's press start. Typically, I found it to be quite accurate. So I really like the fact that you don't have to spend hours re-editing all of the captions that have been generated. So we can see that our captions have gotten added and they've been generated and they're pretty accurate. But there's a couple things that we can do to style them, because here you can see, for example, the captions have completely gotten out of the video altogether. And maybe you want to change the look and feel of them a little bit. So what we can do is let's tap here just on the auto caption itself. And once you tap there, then you can put your finger on the text of the caption and then move it around to position it where you want. So let's say I want it a little bit higher. So that's good. So it will move all of those captions higher. Here you can see that the captions have gone out of the video. So we want to just edit that a little bit. So let's tap down here into our caption. And once we double tap on that, we have the option to actually edit that text. So I want to make this 2 lines. So it is a little bit of a pain to just kind of edit like that, but sometimes that happens. Okay. So let's see there. Okay. So I've edited that. So you can just go through and just see if there's any places like that where, so you can just go through and see if there's any areas like that where the spacing is totally, beyond what you want. So here, for example, again, that's become 2 lines. So let me double tap that and I will just make that 2 lines. Okay. All right. So you can just go through it like that. Now, if you feel like it has incorrectly added a word or changed something, then again, it's as easy as double tapping here, and then you can just edit from within this field. So you can just backspace and retype whatever you need, and then just keep tapping the check mark whenever you're done. So that's really easy to edit. Now, a lot of people like to change the look and feel of their captions because they want to have something that looks a little bit more branded. So if that's the case, you would come down to this style button. And here is where you can change the font, change the style, the effects, the animation, or possibly add a bubble at the back. So if you go to the font, you can pick something that's as close to your own brand as possible. So there's tons and tons of things here. So I really encourage you not to kind of go down a 6-month rabbit hole with this because it can get easy. There's so many different fonts that you could choose from. So just do your best to pick something that goes along well with your own brand. So let's say that I'm good with this one. Okay, so I'll tap the check mark. And then the next thing that I might want to do is to change the style of it. So let's go back to our captions. We'll just tap that. We'll tap style. And then if I want to change the style, then I can go from that white text that has a black border to something else that might suit my brand a little bit more. So maybe something like this or something like this would be appropriate. So just scroll through these and just see what the different options are. And then you can pick something that just really kind of suits your brand the best way. And down here, you can spend a little bit of time just playing with it because you can change the color of the text, the color of the background, and all of those type of things. So
now, this is typically the point where I see a lot of people getting hung up and wasting a ton of time. Don't forget that your viewer rarely cares what your actual captions look like. They don't care about the aesthetics of it as much as we do. They just want to be able to read the content. So it has to be legible and big enough. So I encourage you just to find something that you are comfortable with, that you feel like just reflects your brand, and then move ahead with it. Don't drain too many hours of your time nitpicking about the exact shade of the green or the blue behind it until you have more time to do that. The whole goal here is to get the captions on your videos and then publish your videos and get them out there. So let's get back to my video.
now, one thing that you might want to do is change the actual size of the captions if you find them too big or too small. So again, you can tap on your caption box, go down to style, scroll down to size, and then just drag that a little bit. So the goal here is that it doesn't go out of the screen, nor does it bump into the margins, because you know that things that are close to the margins sometimes get cut off. But it needs to be legible because you don't want people kind of struggling to read them, and then that just gets distracting altogether. So pick something that kind of works for you and then just settle at that. So I always recommend writing down these settings. Once you find something that you like, then just write those settings down somewhere so that the next video you make, you don't have to try to recreate all of your settings from scratch.
Now we're interrupting this video so that I can remind you to subscribe to this channel. I think you should do that first. And if you want to get started with creating a small space at home so that you can start shooting your videos there, make sure that you look for the free resource in the description below, and I'll send it off to you and you can get started right away. So let's head back to our video.
So when your video is looking exactly the way that you want, and you've had a look through the other options that are down here to see if there's something else that you want to do to it, then at the end, all you have to do is click this export button at the top, which will allow you to just save it to your camera roll, and then you can export it to any of the platforms that you like.
Now, I have to say that Capcut is a really powerful app, and you can do a lot on there, and you can make your videos look really polished and really professional. So I encourage you to just get started with using the simpler features within Capcut so that you can actually upload your video, make it look nice, and then publish it. That is always the goal. The goal is not to spend weeks and months and years trying to figure out how to use an app so that you want to make it look like a cinematic production and then it never gets out the door. So be careful about falling into that trap of perfectionism when you are learning how to use a new app. So if you like this video, I hope that you'll give it a like and share it off with one of your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, because every single week I bring you a new video teaching you how you can add video to your business. So until next time, take care.